Do you ever wonder why you're doing what you do in life? Do you wish that you could be really happy and passionate about what you do? Or maybe you already are and you want to expand in a different direction. Hi, I'm Barbara Ann, host of What the Why? I love what I do. A lot of that has to do with my story, my journey to this point in life. And guess what? Everybody has a story. So please join me for conversations with leaders from all walks of life about what they do, and more importantly, why they do it, how they found their core purpose, their passion, their mission in life. And if you're looking for your own, maybe you'll get some great suggestions on how you too can find your why.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of What the Why. If you haven't seen us before, our show features conversations with diverse leaders from all walks of life about why they do what they do and how they're figuring things out. And if you're joining us on our new platforms, we are so excited that you found us on Apple as well as on iHeartRadio and a lot of other places where podcasts can be listened to. Maybe you're sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, or you feel stuck and you want to get unstuck, whether that's in your job, your career, or just in your life in general. All of our guests have something in common with you. They went through some kind of pivot, either voluntary or involuntary, and they figured things out. And today's guest is no exception. Please join us in welcoming Randy Curtis Jr. Randy is a media personality, a cultural commentator, and visionary storyteller, committed to meaningful conversations that inspire growth, healing, and purpose. And those of you who've been with us from the beginning know we are all about the purpose. As the voice behind Choo Radio Network, he creates content that blends real talk, social insight, and transformational dialogue for today's culture. Known for his bold perspective, authentic presence, and passion is very important for community impact, something that's very near and dear to my heart as well. Randy uses media as a platform to challenge minds, elevate voices, and spark change. His work bridges entertainment, leadership, and thought-provoking conversations with a style that is both relatable and powerful. I'm so excited that he is joining us today. So, without further ado, please join me in a round of applause in welcoming Randy Curtis Jr. So, yay! That was really cool. For those of you who know, who've been with me, my brother also is named Randy, and he is a junior. So,
Wow. Okay.
yes. So, always thought that was interesting too. So, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, the pleasure is all ours. Now, you doing a lot in the media industry. And maybe this is something you thought you would do when you were little, maybe or not. Or maybe you didn't. But we always ask every guest after reading their bio this same question. So,
Okay.
Randy, when you were little, what did little Randy want to be when he was growing up?
Oh, wow. Well, I'm gonna be honest. I wanted to be alive.
Okay.
Um,
And you are I must say, I must admit, you are the guest who's ever given that answer.
yeah, I simply wanted to be alive. I grew up um in a rough city. It was a lot of things going on and family dynamics was weird, and I just wanted to make sure that I lived to see 18, to be honest, 17, to be honest, 16, to be honest. So that was my thought, was like, man, if I could make it to be 16, 17, 18 years old. Um, and then another thing I always wanted to be a soldier, right? And I'm not even just talking like military, even though that was a passion of mine at one point, but like I just wanted to be someone who was known as a soldier, whether it was discipline, courage, having strength, vigor, some type of leadership. So In a sense, I wanted to survive, and in a sense, I wanted to be a soldier. So that's kind of like my why I do what I do now. My mission.
So how did you get from wanting to survive and be a soldier to where you are now?
Oh wow, that is a loaded question. I would say God, failure, watching poor leadership, like people leading people the wrong way and
Mhm.
destroying something that was once beautiful and seeing them destroy it because of like bad decision making and ego. And then I studied history, philosophy, read a bunch of books, ancient texts, um, and just coming from a community and what we call the projects areas, the hood, if they call it, what I'm saying? So like,
Yes,
yeah,
I know it well. I've spent most of my career working in it. Spent some
yep,
time, spent a lot of time hanging in it. Not
yep,
gonna
yep,
lie. At
yep,
different
yep.
points in my life. Parts of Philly, parts of Camden, Philadelphia, for people who don't know what that is, or Camden, New Jersey, and Trenton, and other areas, and even areas that people wouldn't notice, wouldn't think of being the hood, but
Yeah,
for its
yeah,
time it was.
yeah,
So,
yeah. A lot of things have changed when it comes geography. Like they've gentrified a lot of places and things like that.
mhm.
But that's and so that and then starting a business, starting helping uh a start a family nonprofit that became a multi-million-dollar business, and then having my own company, Digital Pulse Studios, where we do everything from videography, photography, film, script writing, the whole nine. Live events, we do live streaming, in person, virtual, the whole shebang. Web design, graphic design. So like, um, and then just helping out the community. One of the programs that I have is a violence interruption program where we're actually in the community, making sure that violence decrease and let people know it's not normal. It's not. It shouldn't be the norm. It normally happens, but it's not normal, if that makes sense. And
Yes.
so, yeah, that's my why. Like I love people. I'm always a people's person. Um, and society, since COVID has kind of been crazy about that, but I
Mhm.
still love people. Um, so that's why I do what I do.
Wow. Um, and it's interesting, there's a poem by Robert Frost that's come out recently, The Road Not Taken. And it's
Wow.
basically you're in the woods and you have two paths. And you could have gone down either. And a lot of people would argue that you took the road less traveled.
Yeah.
And that has made all the difference. Not just for you, but for the people that have benefited from what you have identified as your mission in life. But it was not easy. So
No.
where did you find the courage? I mean, there are so many people. I have family that have chosen one journey. I have family that at this moment are incarcerated. So how did you find the courage?
Oh man. Okay. Honestly, just making the decision. Like so, um, fear was something I really couldn't afford growing up.
Mm, yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah, so it was just like once you make a decision, it is what it is. And like, not getting religious or anything, of course God played a role in it, but like I still had to choose. You know what I'm saying? I still had to make up my mind. And what one of the choices I made was when I decided to get myself together, I moved away the same night I decided to get myself together. I moved to the middle of the country. I moved to the Midwest. And so I'm from the East Coast. I'm from Maryland. So that same night that I was like, you know what, I need to get myself together, I just grabbed a bag of clothes and just left. And that's honestly the type of courage that some people just need. And people threw things at me, said I abandoned them and left them here and all of that. But at the end of the day, if I would have got locked up for the rest of my life or would have got killed, then I would have abandoned you for real. So which
Yeah.
abandonment do you want? You know, do you want the abandonment, the feeling of abandonment, and I come back and I can actually help you become a better person, or you want me dead or locked up for the rest of my life? So,
Hmm.
some things you have to be selfish with, and you can't fix the world if you yourself is broken. You know, so I had to make sure I was good.
I really want to put that is a very powerful. You cannot fix the world if you yourself is broken. And this comes up because people who are givers, people who want to save the world, oftentimes do so at the sacrifice of themselves.
Yeah,
And we cannot, there's a reason why on the airplanes they tell us put the oxygen mask on yourself before you
first. Yep,
try to help others, right?
yep.
And so many of us don't. So, and I'm saying us because this is a part I can really relate to. So, you pick up, you move away from you move away, you
Yeah,
get away.
yeah.
And now the how do you find the rest of the way to that North Star? Starting over.
Oh man. Um, so again, fear is something you can't afford. So
Yeah.
like I simply, once you make once you, it's kind of like this. You feel like you're stuck, right? And
Hmm.
then once you finally break through that lattice, then it's like no holds bar. So I'm a all in, all out kind of guy, So like once I was gone, I'm just like, listen, this is where I'm at. I never even thought I would come back to Maryland. I'm surprised I'm here right now, but like I never even thought I would come back, and I met a lot of amazing people. I traveled around the country, and finally set my bearings, back home in Maryland. But at the end of the day, it was easy for me. One, because I ran into the right woman. I'm married, been married for 15 years, going on 16. So I met the right woman. Um, and then that kind of grounded me. We got married young. I was 22 when we got married and had our first child at 22 as well. So like I had responsibility that kind of guided my steps, and also like I always wanted to make sure I built my own community, my own circle, my own family, if in a sense. And when I say family, I'm not talking about relatives because bloodline doesn't make you family.
Yes. It's
So
so true. I have the
yeah,
family that I was born into and the family that I choose.
yes, or the family that chooses you. And so that is always something I wanted because again, I'm a people's person. I'm community oriented. Even when I was in the streets, I was community oriented. Don't come in my neighborhood. Don't do nothing crazy in my neighborhood. I'm going to defend my neighborhood.
Hmm.
That is not bad. It's just the way that we express it was kind of wrong. But tribal is I believe in that. So
Yeah. Wow. So you meet the right person. You're back. You're in Maryland. You are truly exemplary of what it means to be a multipreneur. Let's talk about the work that you do on a larger scale. You have your digital company, the nonprofit.
hmm
Um, how did you figure out those were your passions?
so I think that sometimes we try to overthink what our passion and our destiny and our purpose is. Uh,
Agreed.
in all actuality, you kind of see glimpses of it your whole life, right? So I was the type of kid where I would take old devices, old computers, and all that stuff and try to fix them, right? We had the VHS tapes with the recorders, with the VHS
Yep.
tapes on there, trying to like we did those kind of things. So I always had like a passion for like media and development. Then when MySpace came out, like oh my God, like you can customize your page and all of that. So like all of that stuff always intrigued me. I was an anime lover. I loved Dragon Ball Z. You can see some of the characters in my background. Like I just loved. that kind of stuff. And so over time, I figured out that, hey, I need to make some more money, take care of my responsibilities a little bit better. And yeah, I have a 9 to 5 job, but I need some added income. So I started my company, and I just took on clients that I knew, friends that I knew, loved ones that I knew, like, hey, let me use you to build my portfolio. And I fell in love with it even more. And then when I realized, like, oh, money can come in with this thing.
Hmm.
Um, and then also, a part of my passion came because I love watching or helping other people's visions come to pass, right? So if someone has a vision, so Barbara, if you have a vision and you're like, this is what I want, this is how I want to do it, like I need help, like I find passion in bringing that to reality. Um, and so that is the digital side of the work. The community side of the work, I've always watched um the old school guys, right? The old school guys, the criminals, so to speak, that, but they did what they had to do to get money to survive, but they also had a heart for their community. And I think sometimes that get overlooked
Yes,
or
very much so.
devalued. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so to me, that was a representation of what a real person, a real man should do for his community. Give back, not just the food drives and the clothing, but the educational pieces. I think about the Black Panther Party and how they were about educating people. They were about unifying people. They unified blacks, whites, Hispanics, the LGBTQ, all of those communities, and empowering people to let them know that your current situation and circumstance isn't the end all be all. You can elevate, you can grow beyond that. Doesn't matter what's trying to hold you back. You have the ability to conquer it. And so that is how I got into community-based work, mentoring, and all of that. So yeah, that's the broad overview, the bird's eye view of why I got into and how I got into it.
And you raised a couple of really important points. Leadership can come from anywhere.
Yeah,
And a lot of people don't understand. And the work that I've done in Camden and other communities, the work that you're doing, um, who better to influence the generations to come than someone who's been where where you're trying to help them not go.
yeah,
The
yeah,
lessons learned. To your point from the beginning, what you said was you just wanted to survive. You wanted to be
yeah,
alive. And a lot of people who've been there are the reason that so many other people are. Because you could literally call it survival of the fittest.
yeah, yeah,
And so, you have your company that does digital work. You have their nonprofit that does the work. And then, I imagine you get a lot of requests from people regarding one-on-one.
yeah,
So, what, if any, one-on-one coaching do you do to help people, you know, find that path forward for them? Because
yeah,
there are a lot of people out there who don't think it's possible. A lot of
yeah.
them are listening right now. They're like, he can do it, but I can't.
Yeah, yeah. First, so the one-on-one coaching calls, right, is simple. We attack your mindset first. We cannot. It's kind of like you can't give a drug addict a bunch of money because they're going to waste it on something that's been destroying them anyway. So we have to get them addicted to something else, right?
Mm,
Because we're creatures of addiction. We have to be addicted to something. Um, and so we change your mindset, that mental addiction that you have of constantly destroying yourself or devaluing yourself. We attack that first. Once that is removed, 9 times out of 10, you'll start to awaken to who you are as a person. And once that happens, your purpose just flows out of your mouth. And you don't realize it's your purpose until somebody from the exterior says, hey, that sounds like something you should be doing. Right.
mhm,
And so it's kind of like Michael Jordan. Like Nike wasn't ever thinking about calling one person's tennis shoe after their name, right? Until Jordan came along and was like, "Listen, this is how I want to do this." And mind you, this guy got cut. got benched. You know what I'm saying? And so like those kind of failures, those kind of obstacles are actually there to make you better. And so instead of looking at those, we tell people instead of looking at those things as you're not valuable or you don't have the skill set or you're not there yet, look at them as weights and just keep lifting, keep doing the reps until you finally can elevate and go higher. And so there's nothing that can stop you if you have the right mindset. There's nothing that can block you if you have the right mindset. So those one-on-one calls attack the mindset, the person first. And once that is solidified, then after you become awakened into who you are, we can help you find your purpose and help you set up systems that can make you successful, because a lot of people have goals, but goals isn't the answer. It's systems that's the answers.
You know, that's an interesting perspective. Yeah, and I love the analogy of the weights.
Yeah.
Instead of looking at it as, oh my God, yet another burden, look at it as, oh, I'm just adding a weight that's going to help me get stronger.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
so that's a really interesting reframe. I may have to steal that for certain clients.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I promise it won't be hard to remember your name, and I will definitely give you credit for it. So, let's talk about where you go from here.
Okay.
You know, you're here, you're talking about your message. There's a lot of people listening, and you know, you touched on your wife as being one of your greatest inspirations.
Hmm.
Uh, who who else would you say inspired you to go down this road less traveled?
Oh, wow. I have a friend, right? I call him my brother. I'm not gonna say his name,
That's
but
fine.
he we were caught up in some things together, growing up, and he had to go be behind bars and do some time. He did 18 years, and um that was a wake-up call for me in a sense. Um it took another year or two for it to wake up, but it was a wake-up call in a sense. Um and I always felt like he kind of sacrificed himself, uh and I didn't want to waste that sacrifice. I didn't want to waste his time um while him being locked up. My other inspiration, honestly, my older brother who died when I was 12, 13 years old. We used to talk about things. He was 6 years older than me. And so we would talk about things that like what we would do in our 20s and 30s and stuff like. And I didn't want to let him down either. And honestly, um when I had my old, so I got 5 kids. So when we had my first one, he's 16 now. He was my inspiration. I wanted to be the example of the man that I wanted him to grow up to be. Um, I didn't want him to grow up to be a passive man, a soft man, a man who makes excuses, a man that always complains, a man who allows obstacles to stop him. So I couldn't give up. That was my inspiration, was just seeing my son coming into this world like I have been trusted by God to take care of this other human.
Yes, yes, that's exactly how I saw it as too. When my son got here, it was like, wow, okay, I'm responsible for helping this person
Yeah,
become
yeah,
a contributing, functioning, adult
yeah, and
benefits the world.
and it helped me. I think about it often like this: like he's my reboot. So the things that I didn't get when I was growing up as a kid, the emotional support, all of those things I lacked, I poured into my children, and they were a reboot. So when I see them, they are an example of what I could have been growing up, versus um, what what I was when I was growing up. And I don't have regrets. I actually like the who I am. I love who I am. I love everything about my story. But there's healing and doing good for others, right? And so a lot of when I said earlier about you can't fix the world if you're broken, that doesn't mean that you don't have chips or scars or wounds, but the scar is a representation or a symbol of you being healed from a past trauma, right? And so I look at life that same way. I look at it like, okay, the more that I pour into others, um, it's a representation of I've been healed from a certain scar. And so I let the scab do its thing. I let the scars heal. I let the wounds be seen, and I let people know I'm not perfect, you know? And I think we live in a society where everyone wants their image to be, I don't make mistakes, or I'm this great granddaughter. And it's like, that's
Yes.
so robotic. You're not an AI, you're not robot, you're not, you know, you're going to make mistakes. The thing about it is accountability, ownership. And I tell my sons this. I have 3 boys and 2 girls. I tell my sons this all the time. I said, a part of my ego is an apology. As a man, when I do wrong, I apologize for it. That's part of my ego. So everyone who really knows me knows, man, if Randy does something and it's not right, he's going to apologize and try to fix it. He's going to try to make it right because my ego won't let me walk around being a hypocrite. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
anyway, I know I said a mouthful, but I just love serving. I love building. I love studying, and I refuse to ignore what's going on with the people around me and in my community. So
Wow, and it's interesting, and I want to really point out the wearing your scars because we get those messages subtly, but we don't always realize it.
yeah,
One of my favorite lines from the movie Cars is when Mater, the little truck, talks
yeah,
about why would I want to get rid of all my dents? These are my
yeah,
experiences. Each one of these is a memory that made me who I am. And as a martial artist, one of the things I love is in Japan. And when you said what you did, it made me think they would take pottery and they would repair it with gold.
wow,
And it's got a couple different names, but it's basically translated, it's golden joining. And so you would take this pottery that broke and you would repair it with gold, and you would have this beautiful art piece that really had gold marbling all
wow,
throughout. And that's what I was thinking of as you were talking about your own experience.
yeah,
And so as we wind down, and so many things that you've done in your life really are, whether you call it kintsugi, whether it's mater, whether it's what you pointed out regarding the fact that what I coach around is it's not about perfection, it's about excellence.
yeah, yeah,
Excellence is internally generated, perfection is externally generated.
wow, yeah,
And so what you describe in terms of excellence, there's a lot of people who are listening and or watching this video, depending on where they're accessing it. And right now they're afraid to do what you've done, what others have done. They're afraid to take that road less traveled. And you've offered some very positive, seemingly easy, seemingly easy.
yeah,
That's why the other one is the road not taken. Uh, you've offered the possibilities that it doesn't have to be that way, that you can
yeah,
choose. Yet the fear of change is still more powerful than the fear of staying the same. What advice or suggestions, and you've offered a lot of them, so I want to point it
hmm.
out. There's gems throughout, but what parting advice do you have for those listeners and or viewers who are stuck?
I would say this: if you look in the mirror and you're not satisfied at what you see, where you're at, then you owe it to yourself first to become something that when you see it, you're proud of it. That looks different for everybody. Nobody's road is going to be the same. They might have similarities, might have the same potholes, same twists and turns, but it's a whole different road. What I would say is this: don't allow society and the social media age to dictate who you are and your happiness. At the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you. You have to become who you need to become for you, because there's a part of you that the world needs to see. And so it's selfish of you to not become who you're supposed to be, because you're hindering somebody else's development and growth and connectivity to everything that's happening around in the world. And so I would say it like this: a lot of great successful men and women started out at the bottom of the bottom and had no support, and everyone said no to them. We look at Amazon. It started in a garage. Now you can't even go. I'm a shop online. I'm just gonna Amazon it. You don't even say shop online anymore. You just say I'm gonna Amazon it. Why? It takes. It's so. Here, let me say it like this: anything that is worth keeping never comes easy.
Can you repeat that?
Anything that's worth keeping never comes easy. Think about everything that is in life, period. It's always hard. It's always hard work. It's always consistency that is needed. Um, and that's the key. You have to have consistency in your every single day. Set up a system that's like, listen, I'm going to not, your fear of taking the hard road is an illusion. That's all fear is. It's an illusion. And the only way to conquer fear is to face it. When you face fear, you realize that fear is actually scared of you. Okay, I'm gonna stop.
No, that was yes, yes. It's false evidence appearing real, but it can also, as my coach certification instructor put it can also be face everything and rise.
Yeah,
Courage,
yeah,
courage isn't the absence of fear, it's moving forward despite it.
yeah, yeah,
Because then you
yes,
realize that it wasn't real.
yeah,
Okay, okay. Yeah, it doesn't mean that there's not genuine dangers out there, but
yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of it was how you were perceiving it.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely.
So, well, I knew this was going to be powerful. It did not disappoint. And for those who would like to reach Randy, his information is going to be available in the comments section and the episode information below wherever you're accessing the show. But for those who might be listening, you know, while they're working out or driving, or be safe if you're listening while driving, what's the what's the easiest way for people to reach you?
Um, Go to my website, www.randycurtisjr.com. It's RandyCurtisJr.com. Go there. It has all my email, my social medias. It has everything on there to contact me. My podcasts, all of the above. So go there and get a hold of me. I love to do some one-on-one coaching with people to help them grow and develop. Um, and if you need a community of people around the world, online community that can support and push and celebrate and promote you, come on through.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for being with us today and being part of the thought leadership that we're trying to promote out there. We're really grateful that you joined us and shared your story and 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 your solutions for those who really, really, really want and need to hear them.
Yeah, yeah.
So thank you. And to our audience, it's hard to believe we've been at this for 5 years, and we keep saying it's getting better and better as we grow, and we did not disappoint. Ooh, real quick, what's the name of your podcast?
Choo Radio Network.
True Radio Network. So if you want
Yeah,
to find
Choo.
Randy's podcast,
Yep,
please
yep.
check that out as well. And for those of you who are listening to ours, we really appreciate the fact that you found us. You have so many listening and viewing choices these days. There's a lot of noise out there, and there's a lot of greatness out there. And we're really glad that you invested your time and energy in being a part of ours. And if this is benefiting you, please share this with others so that they can also benefit. And always remember, whether you're looking to make changes in your life, no matter how big or small, tune in again for more illuminating, fascinating, and inspirational conversations with guests such as Randy, who overcame what some would say were seemingly insurmountable obstacles with a possibilities mindset to find their purpose and to live it.